For those of you who don't know her, I'm not Eleanor, as you just said. I think some of you might have been expecting her to be stood up here today. But if I was, this would probably be one of the worst socially engineered attempts that we've ever witnessed. So, no, I am Ed. I'm the co-founder of Assured, Eleanor's co-founder. I'm also not going to be talking to you about cyber burnout, although I would definitely encourage all of you to take a look at that work. It's really, really eye-opening. Now, I'm going to be talking about something actually far worse. Something that's really quite dark. Something that kills the conversation at the dinner table. Something that on the one hand might be the savior of the world, and yet on the other will probably be the very bane of our existence. Insurance. Cyber insurance. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm the last hurdle standing between you guys and the bar. And I have the absolute audacity to be standing up here talking about bloody cyber insurance. But we have a problem, and it has to be addressed. Cyber attacks are consistently on the rise, and I don't need to tell any of you that. The problem is the disconnect that we have between the security and the insurance worlds. Combined, it is the perfect holistic solution, but rarely, if ever, do they work well together. But rather than being downbeat, I am hopeful. I'm optimistic because I'm on a mission to try and change the perception of insurance. And so for the next few minutes, won't be going for the full 30. That is exactly what I'm going to try and do. So you're all security professionals. I'm probably the only person in this room, probably in the building, that is in insurance. Just to double check that. Can I have anyone join me on the insurance side here? Is anyone in insurance? Cool. Dangerously outnumbered. Just by the very fact that you're all here, though, tells me that you're all incredibly passionate about what you do. Your work has a purpose. You believe in your duty. You're all 100% behind cybersecurity. But I'd be willing to bet that at least 90% of you do not believe in insurance. Or perhaps you don't rely on it. And why would you? Because insurance doesn't pay claims. Because insurance isn't worth the paper it's written on. Because why would you buy insurance if you can invest in security? These are the common statements that we always hear. And you're not alone, by the way. Skepticism in cyber insurance is particularly high. It's rife. There are many perceptions, many misconceptions that just get battered around by cynics. And so I'm here to try and debunk them. So security versus insurance, that age-old debate. Here's what's going to happen. As I said, rather than talk at you for 30 minutes, I'm just going to speak for 10. I'm going to run you through 3 common misconceptions, myths, if you like, and then we're going to use the final 10 to allow you to challenge me. Or you can go to the bar. It's your choice, obviously. So, this man right here. I want to take you all back to the year 1686. Edward Lloyd. He's just opened a coffee shop on Tower Street in London. If you go there now, it's just a ginormous Sainsbury's, which is a real shame. Outside of coffee, Edward had 2 loves in life. He loved boats and he loved books. He was a publisher by trade. And he used to write news pamphlets on the latest shipping expeditions abroad and sell them to the people who would drink coffee in his shop. So rather organically, the clientele of Lloyd's coffee house became ship owners, became merchants, and then later, the first ever underwriters. You see, back then, ships faced a multitude of risks. I mean, they still do today, but back then, the perils were piracy, it was storms, mutiny, they just got lost, cargo would fall overboard. There was a ton of risks. And so the ship owners and the merchants needed a way to spread the risk of potential losses. And that gave rise to the practice of underwriting. Now, underwriters were individuals who could agree to assume who would agree to assume a portion of the risk in return for a premium. And that's the concept that we're all familiar with. Probably a little bit steep premiums as well. Now, reputations were made on the underwriting individuals who kept their word, the ones who would actually pay the claims, and that's where they got more business from. By and large, this is the same methodology that insurance is run off today. Insurers, believe it or not, they want to pay claims because it's all about reputation. It is the sole purpose of what their existence is as a company. Now, the added safety net today is regulation. And I know in the panel earlier, we had a really good discussion around what regulation has actually been good. Where's a good working example of it? And I know that even the war clause in insurance was banded out there. A really good example of regulation working is Solvency II. And what that means is the insurers have to hold a certain amount of money back in reserve so that if they take on more insured risk, they always have the ability to pay claims. So that's just a really good example, I thought, of actually the insurers really meeting requirements there. I spoke to one of our insurers yesterday before coming out, and I asked them, how often have you not paid a claim? This is CFC underwriting, so it's a really big global insurer. Some of you may have heard of them. And they said in the last 18 years, where something has been covered, they've never not paid a claim. That's a bold statement. I do have it in writing. But that's debunking myth one. Insurers do pay claims. Myth two. Premiums will increase after a claim. Now, this is a common perception, and actually outside of cyber, I tend to agree. So 2 weeks ago, I reversed my car into a bollard, which is sad. And look at it, got really smashed up. But yeah, I really pranged out. It was damaged, instantly done, and I thought I need to get this fixed. Was I going to call my insurer? Was I? Bollocks. No way. Because the second you call them, the premium doubles before you've even a chance to put the phone down. So I thought, no, I'm going to sort it out myself. I'm going to take it to the end of my road, take it to the garage. They'll just knock it out. It'll be well within the excess. Do not need the paperwork. Job done. Happy days. And that's what I did. But cyber is different. So if you have an incident or you suspect that there's malicious activity going on in your network, you have to report it. Otherwise, 6 months later, when the attack's actually realized, the insurer has the right to refuse the claim if they find out that you knew about this activity going on 6 months ago. So businesses naturally are reluctant to report incidents because they believe, like with my car, their premium's going to go up. However, cyber is probably one of, if not the only sectors that's trying to change the way consumers behave. So only a few people are aware of this, but cyber insurance policies now offer access to the breach response, the incident response services for zero cost. As long as it's notified within the first 72 hours of you having an incident, they'll essentially just waive your excess. And the idea is that if a potential disaster can be mitigated within those first 72 hours, the breach is contained, the claim is avoided, and there's no reason to hoik the renewal excess because everything's been managed really quickly, really sharply. That's what they're trying to encourage there. And so insurers are generally really happy to swallow those initial costs. And they basically quash like any further incident becoming like a major data breach. So you have access to all of those things there. Final myth number 3. Cyber insurance is exasperating ransomware. And this is probably one of the common debates that get thrown our way. And I'm always up for a challenge because cyber insurance does pay ransom demands. We had a client this week who had a ransom paid. It is happening. I'm not denying that. But whether a business has insurance or has not, those attacks are still going to happen. So in the UK and Ireland, around 30% of businesses buy some form of cyber insurance. That's actually quite low if you think about it. In the US, that's closer to 70%, between 60 and 70%. So we are behind over here. And what this means is here, at least, in the UK and Ireland, there's a larger number of companies who are being attacked. They don't have insurance, but they're still paying bad actors. And we just don't know about them. We won't know about them as much as the insurance ones because they're the stats that are recorded. they don't just have the insurance support for that payment, as they've chosen not to take it. So that's on them. And of course, with an insurer backing you, you've got the resource to pay the ransom, should you wish to. More importantly, you've got access to a panel of experts, people like you. And that panel will send in a ransom negotiator. They'll provide a forensic team to assess actually how much damage has been done. They'll give you legal advice to advise you on what the legal implications could be. Do you need to notify the regulator, notify your customers, things like that? More importantly, the panel provides an independent overview to actually give you assurance as to whether your insurance is going to cover you or not. They give you options. Again, as I said, I spoke to a handful of our insurers yesterday. I wanted to get the stats on ransomware claims as of what's been going on in the last 3 months. So they told me, this was 5 insurers, ransom claims have risen. They've continued to rise this year, but the last 3 have been more prolific. But ransom payments have not. And this is with businesses that have the insurance. And by the way, if you did want to take out a cyber insurance policy, but without the ransom, a lot of businesses don't agree morally with paying actors, you can do that. And then you usually see like a 25% decrease in your premium anyway. So it's worth thinking about. So, 3 slides, 3 myths. The solution really is collaboration. Cyber insurance is quite simply the failure of cybersecurity. And I don't believe anything is 100%. Now, I'm not expecting you all to be walking out of here chanting, insurance, insurance. Well, I would love that. What I do hope is at least I've softened your perception, or I've at least engaged you on a topic which is not security today, but it's on the insurance side. I believe in security. The insurance industry needs you to believe in insurance. Now, I've rather arrogantly put myself as Achilles in this situation here, but in the film of Troy at the moment, he's just taken down Boagrius. He turns to the Greek army and he says, "Is there no one else?" And so I thought this would be a really good time for me to finish here. So thank you for listening. I'm open to be challenged.